Hey there, fifth graders. So we're going to be working on some more multiplication, and this time we're going to be comparing the size of the product, that is our answer, to the size of our factors, those numbers that we start with. So let's check out our first. We've got 4/4, or as you and I like to call it, 1, times 12 centimeters. So we already know that the answer is going to be 12 centimeters, but let's follow the steps just like the notes want us to. So let's see, 4/4 times 12. Well, that equals 48/4, or 12. Now let's check out the next one. This is 3/4 times 12. And that's going to be 36/4, which comes out to 9. And then 5/4 times 12 is 60/4. And we call 60/4 15. So check it out. We started with 12, and then this time when we multiplied by 4/4, which is 1, multiplying by 1, we got 12, which that makes sense. If you multiply by 1, you get what you started with. And here we started with 12, and we multiplied by a number less than 1, and we got 9. So our product was smaller than our original factor. In this, we started with 12. We multiplied by greater than 1, and we got 15. So if you multiply by something greater than 1, your product increases. Less than 1, it decreases. Multiply by 1, you stay the same. So after that explanation I just gave you, I want you to fill this in. So set a timer for 3 minutes, and you should answer all 4 of those in 3 minutes. If not, raise your hand and I'll help you out. Come get a smelly star when you're ready for me to check your answers. So in those 3 problems that we looked at, we started with 12 for each of them, and we multiplied it by something. We're going to call this the scaling factor, because it changes the size of the 12 that we started with. So 4/4, 3/4, 5/4, that's our scaling factor, and it changes the size of the other factor. So we're going to look at those relationships again. When we multiplied 12 inches by a scaling factor equal to 1, remember 4/4 is equal to 1, what happened to the 12 centimeters? Nothing. It stayed the same size. It stayed 12. Now in B, the scaling factor was 3/4. Is this scaling factor more or less than 1? Well, it's less than 1. 3/4 of a pie is less than a whole pie. How do you know? Well, here's how I know. Here's 1. Here's some fourths. Uh-oh, 3/4 is not the whole thing. That's how I know. Was 5/4 more or less than 1? More. So what happened to our 12? Got bigger. Turned into 15. Because 5/4 times 12 is 15. Got bigger. So now we're going to look at a different set of problems. So look, we have 1/3 is our factor for all of them, and then we have different scaling factors in each problem. So go ahead and solve each problem. That should only take you a minute or two because you're just multiplying across. And then down here you're going to answer these questions about how the size changed. So go ahead and set 4 minutes on your timer. Raise your hand if you're still working after 4 minutes, and make sure you're getting that smelly star from me once you're done with all this. So now we're going to look at some different problems that all start with 1/2. Hey, look, they switch places though. The scaling factor is the second factor. Does that still work? Yeah, it still works because in multiplication order doesn't matter. So let's see, our scaling factor here is 5/5, 3/5, 9/5. But we're scaling 1/2 each time. So 1/2 is our original factor. So then down here, we're going to explain. What got bigger, what got smaller, and why? So let's try the first one. 1/2 times 5/5 equals 5/10. Well, 5/10 is the same as 1/2. If I divide 5 by 5, I get 1. Divide 10 by 5, I get 2. So 1/2, it's the same. Nothing changed because 5/5 is equivalent to 1. Since 5/5 is the same as 1, nothing changes. Let's check out the next one. 1/2 times 3/5. Let's multiply across. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 5 is 10. 3/10. Well, is 3/10 more than half, less than half, the same? 3/10 is less than half, which makes sense because 3/5 is less than 1. So of course we're going to end up with a smaller number than what we started with, and we started with 1/2. Because if you multiply by less than 1, your answer is smaller. So if you multiply by anything that's less than 1, your product will be smaller than what you started out with. We started out with 1/2, and we ended up with 3/10, which is a smaller number because we multiplied by something less than 1. Let's try this last one. 1/2 times 9/5. Well, 9/5 is more than 1, so what do you think that means? What's going to happen? Is my answer going to get bigger or smaller? Well, let's multiply across and find out. 1 times 9 is 9. 2 times 5 is tenths. Oh, 9/10? That's almost 1. That's way bigger than the half that I started with. My answer got bigger. Why did it get bigger? Because 9/5 is greater than 1. So my answer grew. All right, I want you to run through these 3 problems. Same thing we just did on your own. Set that timer for 3 minutes. Raise your hand for that smelly star.